to understand that, wow, I don't have to do the work that they're telling me to do. It's the people that hired me. They're the people that I answer to. And so it sounds easy enough, but it's not that easy. The good news also, like in Collin County, the North Texas COG, the man who's heading that has figured this all out. He's heard me speak, I think, 3 different times on this thing. And he's Special Forces, Army retired. You're not gonna mess with Keith. And he looks at this stuff and oftentimes is the only vote against it. So we've got to educate more people so that the key selves of the world can have more. And as I say, in this Houston, Galveston area, it's really awesome. One of the longest standing commissioners in Galveston County gets it. He was going to order a whole case of these books himself and start handing them out to everybody so that he could gain the support he needed to stand against this agenda. So that's what it's going to take, bottom up. That's how our government works. Yes, sir. Or it's supposed to work.
Yeah. Over in Shreveport, Louisiana, 2010, our city government, every government agency over there, including Northwest Louisiana Council of Governments and COG, I think you mentioned, they presented what they're calling the Shreveport Caddo 2030 Master Plan, 1,629 pages.
Oh, goodness.
In that master plan, it makes a statement that, I mean, the city council involved, Mr. Mayor, you know, the county commissioners, the whole government entity is involved. Page 100, it says they make the recommendation that Shreveport join ICLEI that you talked about.
Oh, goodness.
So last October, I'm just researching the new ICLEI members list, and lo and behold, Shreveport is now listed with New Orleans in there. So the question is, would it be fair to surmise that our current city council and government agencies are on board with what is in that master plan and ICLEI? Or do you think there's a chance some of them just got into it not knowing what they bought into?
I would go for the naivete approach first. And then when you sit down with them, if they dig in their heels and get ornery in response, then you know that it is the worst case scenario. I would go in with a benefit of a doubt though first, and also appealing to them to learn more about ICLEI and about this whole process. And again, this booklet, or again, go to sovereignty.net. The man who wrote these passed away a few months ago, so I don't know how much longer they're going to be in print, so if you're going to get it online, get it right away. They've already run out of one of my books. So.
Would it be fair to say that it would be safer to try to go under the radar and maybe one of those entities at a time? One member of the city council, one member of the school board, instead of letting them all know that we're now looking at them?
That would be a wise approach. I would just think, just as far as working with people, I think to go in and with kid gloves, talk to one person at a time so that they don't feel like somebody is confronting them, but someone is there to try and help them, and literally to be arm in arm in trying to do the right thing for your community. But if you find that someone is wrongly intended, I mean, with your case back here with the building codes, I mean, it just seems to me if you went in and highlighted those things that you're finding, like guns and, you know, these things that you would never think would be in a building code, but you find those kind of things and you point them out, and I would think that there would be a lot of people who would begin to question whether you really need that or not, or maybe you just need to take your own city codes or your state codes, even, you know, I don't know how broadly that goes. Are there federal codes too? Probably.
And some things,
Yeah.
most of it goes to state, like
Okay.
plumbing and things like that are all state code.
Okay. In the past, before all of this international stuff came in, so it was mostly just state. But if you would look at that and compare it and say, you know what, this could be enhanced a little bit with 1 or 2 ideas, but why do we need something coming from international? I mean, they probably have not had anyone scrutinize them and put them side by side like that. It would be great if you had a computer program to have both of them
Yeah, well, we
side by
already
side.
had fire codes. It was done by some code council was established in the 1800s. And, but this new thing, you know, and ICC came along and promoted their code. And now everybody's adopting this because it's new. And,
Just because it's new doesn't mean it's good.
but the ICC, in their website, it talks about their code writers. Their code writers have a quota of 10 code changes a year to keep their job. So they're not looking at it, is this for the safety? They're looking at it, well, I
Meeting
keep
a
my
quota.
job.
The quota.
Yeah. So there's new codes coming in every year, and contractors have to try to keep up with that. And people wonder why the house costs so much to build.
I know. Well, and you know, another thing you can look at is, and I know that this is happening over in Carrollton. I have a friend who, she and her husband for the retirement thought they would have rental homes. Well, now the new mayor and city council has come in and adopted so much of that stuff as their own policies. That's when you really got a problem. And so, I mean, they really need to reconsider who they've elected as their mayor, if this is what he's going to be doing to their businesses and their community. And it's making it very, very difficult for them to turn a profit. If one person moves out, another person moves in, and then you have to update all of these different things according to these new codes. And it becomes prohibitive. And I mean, this was their retirement. This was their plan for their retirement, and this is what the city is doing to them. And the young little whippersnapper mayor needs his comeuppance, I'll tell you that. Yes, Lori.
Can you speak to urban sprawl and how it fits in with the
Yeah,
gender
urban
war?
sprawl is one of the things that has become extensively implemented again in California, not just tearing down dams, but every one of these crazy ideas. The economy in California is absolutely imploding. Not only because they've got, you know, half of Mexico moving in because they've got a magnet to draw them in, but all of these rules and regulations, and they can't do a thing about it with their legislature, and that Moonbeam, their governor, I mean, it's just, the whole place is just imploding. But this urban sprawl thing has been carried to the extent that they are literally saying a city cannot grow beyond this. And it's just destroying their housing market and their property values. And so the repercussions of this, I really encourage you to go do some research on that. The idea originally sounds like, well, I know we still need to keep some green spaces out there. When people want green spaces, people will leave green spaces, but that green space might be their yard, and that's their prerogative. But this is a master plan. This is a master plan, a top-down government plan. You know, there was a Union of Soviet Socialist republics that for 70 years had this grand experiment, and it failed. It failed. What Ronald Reagan was looking at when he was standing at that gate, again, was not just a wall. He was looking at a form of government. He was looking into a filthy environment. The only way you're ever going to have clean air and clean water is with a free market. Even our own pilgrims in this country first thought that they could live socialized, sharing all. You know what they found out? It didn't work. Because if people don't have personal property rights and personal responsibilities, I mean, my husband and I and my dad managed for 20 years some duplexes we had. If people don't own it, they don't care. Very few people are going to care for somebody else's property the way that they would their own. I mean, I always pride myself in leaving a hotel room the way I would want it left if it was my home. That's just my challenge to myself. Somebody else is going to ask. Yes, sir.
I've been posting anti-Agenda 21 on the internet for about 2 years now.
Good for you.
And I think to start out with, if you don't know too much about it, there's a good website. It's DemocratsAgainstAgenda21.com. And of course, it's ICLEI.com and UN.org. And I've got a list of probably 10, 15
That's
Democrats
awesome.
against
Yes.
21 is
Yes.
the one to start with.
That's the one who wrote that green mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, her name starts with a K, I think. Anyway, it's a strange name.
Too old to remember.
Yeah, no. But anyway, it is an excellent source. Excellent source. Yes, sir.
Forgive me if I sound simple on this, but it looks like this Agenda 21 is promoting and going to push toward totally doing away with entrepreneurship in the United States, and business will be controlled by the government, not only controlled, but owned
Yes.
by the government.
Yes. Yes. You're not being too simple. You are cutting to the chase. Control everybody all the time, everywhere. And that is when the government, yeah, not me either. That's when the government, but when you have over half the people who are not paying taxes, and you and I are sitting here with this Obamacare thing saying, I don't want death panels, I don't want new taxes, but you've got a lot of people who are not paying any taxes, and they're saying, you owe me. The only reason you have it and I don't is because you took it from me. I have watched this in action at the United Nations, nation against nation. Just like Colombia was sitting there salivating. If the Kyoto Protocol forced America, and what the businesses are doing instead of buying the right, here's the deal. If Colombia had a business that they shut down because it was polluting and it was not a successful business because, they don't know how to run a business, unless it's corruption, drugs, and, that kind of thing. So if they shut down, then they have a credit. And if the United States wants to build a business, then they have to buy their credit in order to have the right to do so. Or the other thing that the American business can do is to say, well, you know what? I don't have OSHA standards. I don't have ICC regulations. I don't have lawyers on my neck. If I put my business in Mexico or in Brazil or in China, so I'll just go there. And then we wonder what's happened to American manufacturing. Yeah. And one of the article that I sent out this week that our national leader wrote was talking about how South Korea, now that we have Kim Jong-il's grandson, Kim Jong-un, in control and wanting to nuke us at the next closest opportunity he gets, we're starting to look at things. Well, it's interesting because this Green Climate Fund house, their home office is going to be in South Korea. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying, this is a comedy of errors. But in the Quezon area, they're bringing over at 25 cents an hour from North Korea thousands of employees, and then they go back across the border at night. That's the only food and money and provisions those people from North Korea get, otherwise they're starving. And they have no jobs. So, and then we gave them a free trade agreement, which means that they pay no taxes and no tariffs. And so we're importing all of their cheap cars made at 25 cents an hour slave labor. But what are they buying of ours when they make 25 cents an hour? Nada. How stupid is this? And this was just done in 2011 under our current president. But, it was Newt Gingrich who gave us NAFTA, which started us on this roll. So, we are in dire straits. But I sleep well at night because I know that God is still sovereign. And that it doesn't matter all of these machinations with global government, tagging our children and all this kind of malarkey. That's all it is when we have a God who is seated on his throne and in sovereign control. Some things come and some things go. And my dad and I were talking on the way here tonight that if we feel that someone took something from us and we feel angry, then we're not recognizing the sovereign God that asks us to have our hand open, and he will give it and he will take it away. And it's a hard thing to do in reality. It's an easy thing to do philosophically, but it's hard in reality. Because the world isn't fair. It doesn't play fair. Yes, sir.
I've got 9 questions or
Oh, good.
comments. Okay. The NCOG thing you were talking about, I was at a meeting 2 years ago, and they said the Trans-Texas corridor is still going through, and I still think it is. What do you think?
Trans-Texas corridor is the question. In its original state, the Trans-Texas corridor was going to be lanes for cars, lanes for trucks, and in between was going to be all of our utilities, which would, I was talking over in Killeen one night, and there was a retired general there, and he said, I would go in and develop a battle plan, the first thing I would find would be that road, bomb it, and, dismantle,
The utility.
and so it was like, this is not smart in any way we look at it. So the original plan is not going through, and the name Trans-Texas Corridor has been taken away. However, we still have, because of NAFTA, more traffic than we can deal with on our roads. When I get on 35 going north and south to Austin, it is a kamikaze trip. 45 isn't a whole lot better. So they're widening roads. They're widening 35, they're widening 69, but it is all still because the TRICOMs have built state-of-the-art ports in Mexico. They're now able to cross the ocean in just a matter of like 3 or 4 days and dump a whole lot of their cheap stuff and in Mexico, and then Mexican drivers, so that they don't have to deal with our longshoremen, they don't have to deal with our truck driver union, and so then they come up into our country, and Texas, being a border state, is getting quite an influx. So what do we do? I mean, what do we do in order to make roads safe and adequate enough for us as Texans? And these, I don't know how we deal with it.
Why don't we toll the heck out of foreign license plates?
Yeah.
That'd be one thing.
Yeah. It's a good idea, just so that you could hear that. Toll foreign license plates. That's one idea.
C-scope, that collaborative decision-making process, that seems like the core, real core of C-scope.
Yes, C-scope, the education program, was developed by 19 out of 20 of our region service centers. Texas has 20 region service centers. 19 of them decided to pool money, $200,000 each service center. That's a lot of money to be pooled. And then to hire some of the same people who are writing Barack Obama's national curriculum to write Texas curriculum. And so the thinking in that is what they call progressive, but it is absolutely this kind of left-wing, you can call it progressive if you want, but I mean socialist, Marxist, all of that applies too. It is that style of thinking, absolutely.
At what time?
Groupthink.
At what time the Socialist Party in America was called the Progressive Party?
Yeah.
Same difference.
Yeah, great point.
Didn't Hillary write her senior paper in college on Saul Alinsky?
Yes, Hillary Clinton wrote her senior paper on Saul Alinsky, absolutely. She is as much a Marxist as is Barack Obama.
Tyler, TISD students, the public school students, are going to be wearing RFID tags real soon.
No.
Yep. It's going to be on the buses. All the bus kids are going to have them.
He's saying
And
that
they're
Tyler,
starting a 10-bus trial. They just voted on it last Thursday.
in Tyler, just last Thursday, the school board voted to require children riding buses to wear tags, RFID tags. And they do this under the name of security and safety and that kind of thing. But I don't buy that line. It's control. It's control.
That's enough for now. I'll catch you later.
Okay. Other questions or comments? Again, you've been an awesome audience. Thank you. God bless you. And thanks, Lori, for all you're doing. Appreciate you.